Howdy, howdy, y'all. Welcome to episode 16 of the Kilima Post with your host, FeistyStreams.
And Shinori Yoru here with an episode all about the different kinds of parties in Palia. And today we have a special surprise.
Right, we have a very extra special guest today, so grab your iced tea for the mighty yet nicely FeistyStreams.
Hi there, how's it going? We
Doing well. How's your day? How's your week been in Palia? And how you doing today, Feisty?
Yeah.
It has been fantastic. This week has been very, very busy. I've been working on a lot of deco projects, a lot of community projects, and had a very eventful week being a brand new Twitch partner. So it's been an amazing week.
Congrats!
It's been an amazing week.
Congratulations.
Let's go.
Thank you. And Shinori, how are you?
I'm doing good. And then for your partner grind, it must have been really, really difficult and also very time consuming, but you managed to do it, and we're very proud of you.
Thank you.
For putting all the effort and work into getting to your partner for Twitch.
Thank you. It was quite a grind, and of course, it was Palia that got me there. So, as a variety streamer by nature, once I had unlocked that path to partner, I decided that the core of my community was Palia, because this community is amazing, supportive, and very involved with each other. And there's so much to do in this game together as a community to help build a very strong community and foundation towards getting that partner. So I'm excited about doing today's podcast, being, of course, all about playing with our friends in Palia.
Right. Oh, and I know, speaking of community projects, I know before we actually get into all of that today, we did actually get release of a brand new event this week. We have the big jam festival this week where everybody's making preserved items. So what do y'all think about this event this week?
For me, the event seems to be a bit lackluster for me, mainly because it's all the items that we already gotten. But I think the most exciting part is basically us getting the new plushie if we do get 25 million using the preserve jars. And I think it's mostly just figuring out like what to do and like what we should be doing while this whole event is going on. So, but how are you guys with this whole event? I'm just literally just putting stuff in my preserve jars, and that's just it.
From what I've been hearing from the community, myself, and my own feelings, I agree that is a bit of a lackluster, and it's not. I think it's because it's more of a solo event, and I think maybe Palia is trying to cater to the people that don't tend to play as a community, that want to play solo or want to be able to contribute without having to hunt down people. Like for example with the Bugapalooza, having to have the big parties was beneficial. But I think at the same time, having new people coming into the streams and stuff saying, what are you talking about? What is this jamboree? There's obviously a large community that plays this game that are not that connected with, say, Twitch or, checking out the events on the website. So I think there needs to be better communication in the game for these sort of things. But, from what I've seen, the people who are connected, getting together, trying to figure out what are the best, benefits of what to plant, what's going to, get a faster crop. Some people are doing it for money at the same time. What's going to be, a decent crop to be able to get some money out of it, as well as working towards the goal. But I think it's a very difficult goal to attain for what they put out. If you look at Bugapalooza, you had a lot of people getting together for doing the bug parties. You would party up with 4 different people. That one bug turned into 4 bugs for the count, and we still didn't make that goal. So I think that it was a very, very hefty goal to say that we were going to hit 25 million, and that plush is definitely that little carrot at the end of the stick for the majority of us. But is it going to be enough? I don't know. I've got a lot of mixed feelings with this event for sure. I mean, I was just going around Palia and I completely forgot about the jamming for like very many hours, and then panic and go back, and then I'm like, oh, I still have things cooking in here because it's such a slow process for a lot of this. So it's definitely Definitely an interesting event.
Right. I definitely see where that it's definitely a time gated event for sure because you can only have so many, preserve jars going and you can only garden so fast. So I think that's a big thing is the difference between something like this versus the Bugapalooza is the fact that we could all sit there and grind it out all day. But I know, but as you mentioned, there, especially on like, I know my Discord, there was a big talk of what vegetables they wanted to grow that would produce the fastest but yet yield, good money. And so but I didn't mind that everybody was, sharing information amongst each other and like really coming together for it. And I definitely think it's a good like AFKing event type of thing because I know I've been preoccupied with other games, so it worked out for me. Log on, water my garden, put all my preserves, go back to my other game this week to be honest. But yeah, I definitely feel like I wish the rewards was better. But the idea of having a jam based plushie, as they call it, opens up the idea for some fun plushies they can add in the future.
Absolutely. But you know what I think would have even been a better carrot at the end of the stick? Being able to place our starred preserves. That would have been a bigger incentive to me. I would take that over 10 jam plushies.
I agree with that 100%. Even though like we've been demanding it for a very long time. I've been playing since closed beta, and having that preserve jar on your plot, that'd be really really nice, especially with this new plushie that they're trying to get into the game. It's something that we've been asking for a bit, but I'm not sure when they'll be adding it, but we'll see if they ever will. But I think for the most part, I think the fastest way to get for your preserve jars is the carrot and the onion. If you're ever playing in the game, I'll recommend basically putting those two first. If you don't have any, put the next fastest thing into the preserve jar, and then once you're playing, and then you collect it when you are about to log off, but you put in apples or blueberries and after. So when you come back the next day, the preserve jar will still keep going because it takes more than 24 hours to actually get that all processed. So it's kind of nice that way if you want to do it that with that plan. But yeah.
Well, I know by the time this podcast goes live, the event will actually be over. I
Mm-hmm.
know we're nearing the last couple of days of the event anyways. So, well, I mean, I know the viewers out there already, oh, they'll probably won't know. They probably won't tell us till like Wednesday or something. But they'll already have the event done with. But still, I'm just curious though, because like as you guys said, I would love to have star. I would love to be able just to place my starred, preserves down on on my plot as decoration, and I definitely think that will be coming next year. Fingers crossed. But but it just makes me wonder if they're giving us a preserved plushie, is it just gonna be everybody just gets one? Or do you have a chance of getting a plushie every time you make that preserved item? Let's say, the tomatoes won the vote. Every time you made a jar of canned tomatoes, is that how you get a chance at getting that plushie in the future? Like, that's what I'm kind of curious of how that's going to come about.
Yeah, very good point.
So with that idea, I was thinking about if that was the case, then we're only limited to like 3 inventory slots on each jar. So for that to happen, it might be like we might like get like 1 or 2 or 3, who knows how frequent. But then at the same time, it will be very very difficult to like I would say like to get all the items like vegetables or fruits out if that's the case. If it takes like because you maximum you put like per round is 31, right? So like the last like thing that you need to get into the crafter or to be able to get that done, it might be stopped by the plushie in the inventory is what I find. So in that case, I don't think there'll be a reasonable time to do that because it's just gonna stop that. But I would say like just put it in the inbox for us because that'll be the best way. But of course, we want to get like a lot of the whatever the plushie is going to be. But it'll be more beneficial if we could just like, okay, if we can get like one of it for all, then that's fine. I'm totally fine with that. But we'll see how it goes. But yeah, but the plushie is brand new. It's going to be something that we may all love to do, like put in our plots. Depending on what we choose, because after if we're done the 25 million preserve jars or where that might be, it'll just be yeah, we can have it in our plots everywhere, anywhere we go in our kitchen, or it could be our kitchen, it could be our plushie plot. You never know.
Yeah, I think there's multiple ways that they can go about this, and we're just going to wait and see how they're going to roll it out. But I mean, just like the cupcakes, is it just going to be a one-off drop? Is it going to be in the Zeki Lucky Balls? Is it going to be something in regards to us, doing the actual jamming? I think that might be maybe pulling the jam jar, just like when we pick up a loot bag, maybe pulling the jam jars out. Maybe that'll trigger something, be able to give us the plushie. But hot take, how would we feel about guild coins being used? You know how like at the Maji Market you have the tickets, you earn tickets and you can buy some of the plushies with the tickets, some of them are tickets, some of them are
Right.
gold. What about them opening up the possibility of using our guild coins? Or, even better hot take, our unused renown that is just sitting there doing absolutely nothing. It would be amazing if we could start using some of that stuff, especially for us players who have been playing for a long time and may not be using all of our guild coins on the dailies type of thing, towards something like plushies. It'd be amazing.
I know I myself have been asking for the opportunity to turn renowned into any type of guild coin you want. And it, be like a different ratio, like maybe like 10 renown for 1 coin or something, I don't know. But whatever would be a good, balanced ratio. But always thought that would have been a really good idea.
Or just being able to convert it into something, because I mean, it's
Exactly.
just been, it's for us that have been,
Right.
in from the very beginning of the game, which I think we probably all are. It is, it's been max for like a long time. Yeah, I think
Right.
I've been max for quite a while. As a decorator, I worked on my deco first, of unlocking all of my writs first, and then and then everything else. But it's been a really long time since we've had anything for that, so it'd be nice to be able to use it.
Right.
If we do actually hit the mill and the vote comes out, what are you guys going to vote for? Which kind of plushie would you want?
I am torn because the language they use says jam. So is that only going to be specific to, like, they're not using the word preserves, they're using the word jam. So is that only going to be limiting us between the sort of the apple and the blueberry jam, or is
Right.
it going to be everything? Because I mean, I don't know. If it's just between those two, really hard. Blue is my favorite color, so I
Right.
would probably go blueberry.
I was actually discussing this on a YouTube video I made at the start of the Jamboree because I actually questioned that in the video, and they were very specific on these all preserved items count towards the event. I think it's just called, because it's a Jamboree, so they a Jamboree. I think they
Right.
just kept using the term jam as a as just the term because it went with the pun off the word. It's a pun. That's the word I'm
Right.
looking for.
Right. Yeah.
So I think that's the only reason why they called it a jam plushie, was basically to go with the jamboree and the pun off the word jam.
Right.
I would assume it's going to be all of them are on the table, and I'm going to go with that by saying at this time all is options. If you have a particular favorite out of all the preserves.
But my understanding is like we don't really have like a lot of fruits in there, and also a lot of vegetables in there as well. I'm just wondering, like, can we vote on something that's not really in the game yet? Because I kind of want a pineapple one, if that's the case, if, if that's allowed, or maybe like a strawberry one, maybe cherries. I don't know.
Or as a gift that we receive at some point in time in the game, why were we gifted a jar of pickles when we can't even make pickles?
True.
Well, I
It's
mean,
like,
that was like when we were gifted. Well, we were gifted the lettuce on accident.
yes,
They were supposed to send us out, I believe, cabbage, and they sent us off a stack of lettuce seeds.
Yeah.
yes,
So
I
that
remember
you
that.
know, accidents happen. I still have those lettuce seeds in my lockbox.
I still have my jelly, which we don't even use that, so I don't even know why it's here.
I know, and we can't even some of these things we can't even place. So it's like, why do we have these? They're just like little Easter eggs, like they're where did this come from, and how do we get more?
Yeah. No.
Who knows? Maybe it's more stuff coming down the line. But it would have been amazing if they would have, and I've heard this from a lot of people in the community too. You're wanting us to do all this jamming this type of thing. I myself am a heavy decorator. I don't have a lot of the preserved things, and I was seeing some of the paleo partners and stuff. Getting rid of some of their crafters to be bringing in some more preserves. And I'm like, all of my crafters are filled with materials, and I'm constantly crafting on an ongoing basis. I'm doing 2 pot builds right now, so so I don't have the luxury of being able to do that. It's like maybe an increase of either some of our crafters or an increase in some of the farming plots for us to actually plant more stuff during this event would have been fantastic. But I know a lot of us have been asking for more gardening plots since the get go. So it would have been nice to be able to increase that at the same time as rolling out an event like this. But I don't know if they have any grand ideas or plans to give us some more in the future. But
Right.
that would have been, I think it would have been a little bit easier for some of us to be able to add some more things in rather than having to take away from other areas of the game to be able to do the event.
Oh, absolutely. Because I know I was asking when the Elderwoods came out, I was like, oh, we're definitely going to get an extra garden plot in the Elderwoods. I thought for like every new zone, we were going to get a new garden plot because they're going to be adding new vegetables and
Right.
new stuff for us to plant in the garden. We got beans and pumpkins this time around. So it's like, why not give us more garden space to plant all of these new items we're going to have to garden? Why make us choose between more items?
And that's one thing about Elderwood for me is that like with all the flowers that they're releasing, there's not really an incentive to actually catch any of the bugs like in the caves because there's no plushie, there's no flowers, there's not even a new sticker either. So it's just like, oh, we're only hunting the frogs mostly, and also whatever quests that we may be doing, which is probably like the blood beetle or the other bugs. But that's mainly it for like Elderwood on like with a cave area. We're not just like because mostly all of us are hunting in the outside of the schmoles. We're not hunting like the inside of the caves with the schmoles as a group. So it's just like there's not really that much of incentive to actually catch all these bugs in the caves. But the rock
Yeah.
hoppers, yeah, we'll catch them because they have plushies. But other than that, not really much. No.
Well, I know going into today's subject after getting through, kind of like I guess the news for the week. We're going to be diving into talking about all the different community based events and different kinds of parties, so to speak, as people call them here in the world of Palea. And I guess we can go ahead and start off with the big bad one itself. I guess the original party creator, which is the cooking parties. Because I know they have been pretty much a good staple within the world of Palea. That's, where you go to make money, to make friends, to
Mm.
actually most of the time feel a community. Um, how do you guys do? I know both of y'all actually run probably weekly cooking parties
Yeah.
yourselves. So, what's y'all's opinion on the current state of cooking parties?
Cooking parties in general, I can't believe I'm saying this, but it still has the same problems as it was in the very beginning. What I mean by that is because the AI still Phoenix if you're like trying to hit something, and then it just brings you back to the top or brings you like to something that you're not really supposed to be making. So it still is very finicky, but it's even worse on Switch and also for console as well. So I'm surprised they haven't fixed this yet. And for PC, it does still have this issue, even though they think they fixed it. But no, it's still an issue here. Where like you like, let's say if you're like a batter in a cake party, yeah, you'll be waiting for a bit until like the regular froster is gone, all the fruit frosters are gone, because then it Phoenix, and then you might make something else. So it's kind of unfortunate for that. But for anything like for the other parties, like either they're making like Mujin Bahari or like Bean Burger, I think I haven't heard that much people having that much problems. I can't really say because I don't really do Bean Burgers that much. But I've had a bit of people talk about problems with Mujin Bahari, but mainly it's still as good as it was before, but it could be a lot better in my opinion. How about you, Feisty?
So I do at least one, if not a couple of cooking parties a week, and that has been my staple since back in the day when the cake parties were really profitable before they rebalanced the recipe. And so I've experienced a lot of the things along the way, and of course one of the number one things is the UI bouncing, the UI jumping, and you end up, oh, sorry, I made that because of this. And we found some workarounds. We've been able to figure out, okay, so if you're doing batter, lock up your milk so you don't accidentally make the white frosting, or if you're on this roll, lock up this so you can't make accidentally make these items. I actually just made bean burgers yesterday and had somebody that was on console that was having the UI jump and they kept making the wrong thing, so they had to like lock up their garlic. Yeah. So it does still happen on all of the recipes, and it seems to happen sometimes more with some people than others. And I think it's more console specific than it is for PC. Because I'm predominantly starting the recipes, I don't get a lot of that UI jump. But when I'm on things, it's either you wait until your roll pops up to the top, or you lock up ingredients so that you can't accidentally make something. It seems to be the most popular things. But of course, we're limited to our safe storage, so it's it's a balance of trying to be able to figure out what can I put away, what can I have room to lock up in my safe storage because it's only 300, and I was hoping that when they increased our storage, that we were going to actually get our safe storage increase as well at the same time. But of course, as we know, that didn't happen. To be able to work around these sort of scenarios, that would have been extremely beneficial. But yeah, there's been obviously a change to what's profitable. I think it is one of the best sort of community roles. Like community building roles and helping is very easy to help out new players. It's for all players. It doesn't matter. With bug catching, sometimes you need to have different skills of bug belts, or there's a lot with the bug catching and stuff like that. But you don't have to worry about turning off your pets or all that kind of stuff. And it's pretty simple to follow. It would be nice to be, in my opinion, to be able to have, like how we can assign people roles. It would be nice to be able to actually do that in the game, so that you can actually see so and so is signed up for this, so and so is signed up for that. Like kind of like how we've got the third party, Palea party apps to be able to sign people up for these things. It would be amazing if we had that functionality in the game, so we can say, batter number 2, you still haven't, done your role or whatever, because, sometimes it's trying to figure out, especially when it's the multi-roles. It's like, oh, did I do my role? Did I do my batter? Did I do my whatever? I can't remember. And then, right. Sometimes people are missing out on their roles and then they get upset.
So I know, me personally, I know this is going to sound pretty controversial. But my only big thing with cooking parties is I feel like they make too much money in this game. Like, I feel like obviously I feel like part of the point in this game is to make money because, there's not really like an in-game objective, so to speak, or at least at the moment in the game, it's not a battling game or anything. It's a non-combat game. It's like a cozy sandbox. So there's not, as I said, not really an end game. So the whole point is to make money. But I personally feel like, for instance, like stuff like cakes and fish stew and even to a lesser extent burgers. I feel like for the ingredients that they use make so much, and sashimi, like they make so much money. I mean, you got to do them in big bulks, but still, like I feel like overall they make a bit too much, but other than that, like I enjoy the sense of community. I know my parties, everybody seems to be nice and calm. I do go to
Mhm.
some parties where people are crazy. Yeah.
It depends on the ingredients and stuff too. Um, I think initially, I think the rebalancing of what they did with the cakes, and how they changed the ingredients and all that, it was definitely
Right.
needed. Although I did enjoy getting all the money early game with that. But I mean, if
Mm.
you I think it depends too. There's some like with cake's the only one that I'm like, okay, the jam needs to be starred apples, um, just to make it more profitable. But I mean, I've done parties where with newer
Mm.
people where we didn't have that, and no, we don't make as much.
Mm.
But I mean, it is a time commitment. So I will traditionally do like 60 rounds. I mean, I think 50 to 60 rounds seems to be about the average of what people will do.
Mm.
There's some people that do 100.
Mm.
And if you have everybody for each role, it goes pretty fast. You can get it done, and some people get it done in an hour. I'm not like that. That is the people that are like absolutely. I'm not that pushy, so it usually takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on how quick people are. The more people you have doing multiple roles, it takes the recipe longer. Now I'm going to bring up a controversial thing. What grinds my gears is these
Oh.
100 Moz parties. Because as we know, there
Yeah.
are hackers and cheaters in this game, as there are in most games. And those parties drive me crazy because people will be like, oh, how come you're not doing, 100 Moz parties?
Yes,
Well,
it does.
because I'm not duplicating fish. And I refuse to have parties that have people using those methods because they're out there. I don't even know how they do them. Typically, well, how do they do it? I have no idea. I don't want to know how it's done because I want to play this game above board. Um, but so those parties drive me crazy because people are like, "Oh, I'm not going to join your party because they're going to say I'm not going to join your party because these, I'm going to join somebody else's party because I can sit there for an hour, make sashimi, and make a few 100,000." On a Moz party, and those parties I'm not okay with. But I like the above board.
I mean, personally speaking, as somebody who do host small parties, I know thankfully I have a lovely community who, who loves fishing as much as I do. And I know we do a lot of fish farming, and I know I request pretty much maws most every day I stream, just so people in my stream can donate maws. And then every 50 we do a big Moz party. And I know, and that's how I feel a legendary fish party should be. Like I'm out there fishing, like my Saturdays on stream, when I stream on Saturdays, are typically fishing parties. We'll be out there for 5 6 hours fishing on stream. People come and go. And and I know throughout the week, I just hit like level 450 in fishing. I fish a lot every week. And so, I feel like my maws are, definitely like well earned. And so when I have those parties, I'm definitely like, yeah, look at this money we're making because of all the work we all put in as a community. And I think that I think that's where the big Ma events are like special. And I'm like, and there's so many easy ways to make money in this game. Like if you set up your garden just right, and you preserve and do seeds and do everything proper, you can make so much money from that alone. Like there are plenty of ways to AFK make money even if you don't have time to play. And so I feel like cooking parties, and plus you make good money from just going to like a 50 cake party, you know? Like 50 cakes will make you a good little chunk, you know? So I feel like doing those extra extravagant, events aren't as necessarily needed.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, legitimate Moz parties or legitimate legendary epic rare fish parties and stuff. That doesn't bother me. I've done them myself. I've had community come together, get multiple people, bring 10, legendary epic or rare fish, and get together and do those sort of cooking. It's the duplicating of the fish is what I have problems with. There's some people that do parties every day, 100 Moz parties every day.
Oh yeah,
that is what I'm. That's don't get me wrong. That is where my controversy is. The stuff that's against TOS is where that's the boundaries that I like to kind of fit in TOS. As somebody who would absolutely love to be a paleo partner one day, I try to play within the TOS boundaries as much as possible. So don't get me wrong. I mean, absolutely. I've had epic rare fish parties as well, but it's people who are fishing bringing the fish legitimately to the table, sort of thing.
Yeah, it was like back.
Yeah.
It was like back in the day. People like there were people showing up with like 50-starred goldfish to like parties every day, and
Yes.
I'm like, I
Ow.
fish all the time.
I
How are
know.
you getting 50 star? Because you can't even donate starred fish. You know.
No. Yeah.
As I know Shinori's fishing is 9,999. I know this boy's always fishing anyways.
Yeah.
So I am not surprised that this man would have,
Yeah,
Yeah.
literally.
so many maws every week. That's all this boy does. I feel in his free time. If he's online, he's probably fishing.
Yeah. And I mean, I like fishing too. I mean, I'm still yet to get my dang starred Moz because that sucker hates me. But but I also do more deco than I can get to my fishing, and I don't have a very strong fishing loving community myself. But I actually love fishing, and I usually have really good luck with fishing. But that Moz, and I have have a battle going on for sure. Yeah. So yeah, it's not that I'm against the actual cooking of the Moz. I mean, obviously they gave us a very very lucrative fish in the game, and there's some others that are good as well, right up there. Not as good as the Moz, but it's the not so savory ways of obtaining these things that grinds my gears, and I don't know what they can do to stop it. So that's for Paley to figure out for sure.
The only other thing I would add to it is I wouldn't mind cooking recipes that maybe involved other ingredients to find. There are the vampire crabs, which is an epic crab. And I know we tested out doing a crab party, and it didn't make near as much money, and it takes a while to grind out that many, vampire crabs.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
And so
it is a rare.
I wish some if like some of these recipes make so much money, I wish some of these other recipes could make equally amount as much money so that we could use a variety of ingredients. I feel like everybody does, for the most part, the same 5 to 6 recipes, and that's pretty much it. You might shift it up if you're doing some fish and buffs, but other than that, it's like you're there to make money, and only from these particular recipes. And I feel like there could be a bit more variety in what we can cook, so to speak.
Right. No, I agree with that 100%. Especially with we have mainly getting fish, but then like what about like hunting, or like what about bug catching, or like other like ways of getting ingredients? There should be another way of like how to get like a legendary like stuff from all these other skills that we can get, so we can actually cook them rather than just relying on fishing. That's the thing as well. I'm pretty sure that's what K-First was going through as well. And with that, like, I would prefer that a lot more, because fishing does take a toll, and I know not everyone's a fan of fishing, which is totally fine. I'll be down if you could do that. Get like either like from let's say a Proudhorn Sernuk, and then like, oh, you might have a chance to get legendary meat from here. Like, oh, okay, low chance, but it's possible. Like, oh, okay, sure, yeah, no problem. But yeah,
I would love any legendary animal, like any of the legendary animals, to have a chance to drop quote unquote legendary meat, and you be able to bring that to a
Mm.
party and up the meat value. That would be
Mm-hmm.
awesome. I love that idea.
Mm.
And we
Yeah,
still have. I don't think we have
yeah.
any recipes involving bugs. Like, why don't we have a snail's recipe?
Right, as
Yeah.
I said, we've got the crab recipe, but that's it, you know. And I would love to make escargot sometime, you know.
I voted for vampire crab. I voted for vampire crab plushie.
Right?
I wanted that. I wanted that so bad, but
I actually did too.
alas, we were the minority.
I know everybody got the fairy mantises. But speaking
Mm.
of plushies, they did make cupcake plushies, so I'm still waiting for our celebration cake plush that we have a chance to get
They,
every time you make a cake.
Yeah,
that would be
I would love
fantastic.
that.
yeah.
That would be fantastic. Yeah, that would. I mean, that would bring. I mean, there's a lot of people that are not doing a lot of the cake parties. I mean, some people are just out of habit, I think, but I think people are moving on to the recipes and stuff now. It would definitely bring people back to
Right,
making the
right.
cake parties again.
And like the whole cooking, like it's been done for a long time. I wish like other skills had a lot more to shine for that. So like, it's, like I want a better way to like get money from hunting. I really want to get a better way from bug catching. Mining as well. Like even though like yeah, you do get the star stones, but then like yeah, but it's not as efficient as doing like a cooking party because you get that guaranteed. Star stones, you don't get that guaranteed. So it's just like, oh, okay. So yeah, I wish there was a better way, but that's one thing I think that's really really needed being changed in the game, just for other skills to shine. Because after you're done like so much on mining, you don't feel like you need to do mining anymore. That's what I find. I'm just like, I don't feel like mining that much anymore. So I was like, but yeah, that's just my opinion though.
Right. Well, moving on to the idea of another skill and party. You know, I don't know how much experience you guys have with them, but I know me myself, I run a weekly flow chop party where we chop 300 flow trees.
Mm-hmm.
But flow chop parties are also another a party that people like to do on their home where where somebody will grow a whole bunch of flow trees and people will come over and chop down a whole bunch of flow trees.
Let's
Um,
go.
what's y'all's overall opinion on those type of parties before, you know, I get into my biased one?
For me, flow tree parties are really good for the very beginning, but after a while, like you have so much flow trees, what the heck are you gonna do with them? So I just have like I literally have like about 20K of flow trees literally just stuck in my storage. Just like, well, if I need them, here they are. But I'm probably never gonna go to a flow tree party cutting again, other than like getting for EXP. But other than that, for the flow trees themselves, probably never gonna use them unless I really, really do need, or like there might be other furnitures that might be needed in the future. Who knows? But they are there, and it's not for me anymore. I find I don't know, but what about you, Feisty, about this one?
Um, I'm the same as you, Kiefer. I have weekly float parties. Not that many, but I have just under 100 that we do every week. And I do it for the community. It's not extremely lucrative. Yes, you can sell some of the wood and stuff like that, but as a crafter, I do use the materials on a regular basis. But I'm also a bit of a hoarder as well, so I don't have usually a lot of space for this, and I usually spend a little bit of time every week going, does anybody need
Yeah.
wood? Please, did somebody, request some of this wood before I sell it all. And then, I'll craft during the week and go, dang, I wish I didn't sell all that wood
Yeah,
because
yeah.
now I need it. But it depends on what I've got going on. I go through spells where I'm, like right now, very actively crafting, and then spells that I'm not. So I think it is really good for helping some of the newer players, because if they're super new and they don't even have upgraded, upgraded access to even hit flow trees out in the wild, they can party up with people and they can still get the materials because they are in that party and they're able to pick up the loot bags. So they may not be hitting the trees, but their party is, and so they're still able to pick up those loot bags. So I think it's beneficial to being able to help the newer players in the game get those materials, because I know way back in the beginning it was before we were able to plant trees on our plots, it was a grind trying to get to the groves, and the groves are very controversial.
Yep.
Over the times with people playing this game differently and not abiding to the invisible rules that everybody wants to adhere to. And of course everybody's playing from a this is my game and I'm going to play the game the way I want to, which isn't as community driven as possible. There's some people that just want to hit the trees and go, and there's other people that are very more than willing to wait for everybody in the server to have a chance to get there. So it can be, that's where I really enjoy having the flow tree parties. I don't have to deal with that stress out in the wild. If I'm out, bug hunting, if I'm out mining, if I'm out hunting, doing whatever in the wild, and I hear somebody saying I'm at the grove all alone, we'll be like, okay, let's go help them out, But I don't stop and go and search out those flow groves anymore because of being able to do it every week on my plot. I unfortunately I think the groves are getting ignored on the servers too much for the newer players that are sitting there stranded, not being able to hit all these trees down by themselves because of a lot of us doing these flow groves on our plots. But it just works for me and my community to be able to do it. And then sometimes I've got people that show up every week to do it, and then sometimes people only come every few weeks to kind of restock their stuff. And of course I've learned ways of stocking my pockets so that it can auto fill into my storage and not deal with my over storage later.
And
I know somebody who does them weekly myself. I know I've got like 8 or 9 plank makers on my plot to make sure that I turn all of the heartwood and flowwood into planks just so I can make the most money, because I am definitely not a crafter at all. I'm trying to craft more, but I just need more pallium. But
yes,
I always have the flowwood easy. But I know I tend to make fun of, like, I was at one of my friends talking about how she went to a grove not too long ago, and I was like, "You went to a public grove? Gross! I would never be caught dead there." I mean, obviously, I'm just joking, and if somebody needs help, I'm always there to go to a grove.
Right.
But I just love making that joke nowadays. Like, I'm too bougie for a public grove. But
I know. I used to have timers to be like, oh, it's almost midnight. Let's go find the grove, and we'd have people going all over the place looking for the things. So I mean, it's very convenient to be able to have them on the home plot for sure. But it's a grind getting that many to get to that level of that many trees to be able to do the.
Oh yeah, if it wasn't for the fact of my community helping me water my trees every week, like, I mean, I didn't do a flow chop party this week because my trees didn't get watered, but that's just because I didn't have as much time to play because the lack of solar power and being off grid. It happens. But I know, thankfully, I've got a really great community, and the only reason why I have so many seeds is because, like, all last year, because I've been doing these for over a year now, and it was like all last year, like, I was requesting seeds every day, and my people were really generous, and they donated their flow seeds because they knew they were getting more than their handful of flow wood out of it, because they were coming week after week at the time.
Right.
And
yeah, exactly.
and I think the big benefit to them, and the reason why I like them so much, is because I'm guaranteed with my party three levels. So, and that just unless I decide to boost any of the trees, which we can get into that in a moment. But I just like getting that because it gives me more foraging tokens, which allows me to buy more Dari cloves for more of the expensive cooking parties.
Right.
I definitely use that as a way to help me continue my Dari clove stash.
Right. And with the flow trees in general, I just find that even if you're not really doing them, like I usually do like RTB takeovers for servers, there's a chance for you to get an RTB from that grove. And for someone to just come on by and just like scaring off the RTB, we usually use that as a milkshake. So it does become a bit frustrating for some that are looking for a milkshake every single time. But I do like the
Mm-hmm.
grove and what it spawns, but it's just a bit slightly inconvenient if we're trying to keep it alive for an RTB hunt for us.
We'll definitely get into that subject a bit more when we get into the bug catching for sure.
Mm.
But actually, I've talked about this for a couple of weeks now, but I will pose this question to y'all. It's actually what I thought about adding on to the idea of a flow tree. Instead of calling them like flow chop parties, I want to just call them tree chopping parties because I would love the ability for you in the Elder Woods to get an essence filled ancient tree. And then because I think growing an essence tree would be a really cool decoration on my plot. And B, being able to offer flow trees and essence trees, I think would be really cool. And you could have, to an extent, an essence party, and it would work like a regular tree with once you got it fully grown, it would then give you an essence filled seed to replant.
I think an essence tree would be fantastic. I've thought of
Mm.
that as well. I was like, how come we don't have essence trees or flow agent trees? Like, even just having a possibility of it would be amazing, but having a guaranteed essence seed would be even more fantastic. Who knows? Maybe it's something that they are gonna do in the
Right,
future.
and,
You never
but
know.
the thing is with essence trees in general for me is that it doesn't give that much essence. So like if you were to chop like a fully grown essence tree, you're probably getting like maybe like 11 or like 12 or 13 essence, and that's basically it. Like then you gotta go somewhere else to find more essence from that tree. So like if they could increase it a bit more, I would be more likely to get more. I'm more likely to do like but like an essence chopping for that. But as of right now, it's just like, well, shoot, with how much? Because we need 30 trees in order to get 300, and by that math, so like 3,000 for like 300 trees, it doesn't seem that much to be honest with you, if you really do the math on that. So it's just like, kind of iffy on that one. But
Well, I mean, it's still easier than running around and grinding all of that throughout all of the Elder Woods, you know? And just thinking of the longevity,
mm,
when the Elder Woods is no longer the hot new place to go,
mm,
there's going to be less people over there until they release a new plushie.
true,
There will be less people in the Elder Woods when the next zone comes out because
yeah,
everybody will spend most of their time in the next zone getting the more rare fish that's worth more money and the new plushies that are out.
right,
So I feel like it will also give a way for people who don't necessarily, or people who are maybe later to the game. It'll allow them to almost give them a catch up mechanic on getting through all of the Elderwood stuff where you need so much essence, you
right,
know?
right.
And I wouldn't be down to have so much essence that I can just buy some essence bags for a while, you know? I'll maybe buy some fishing bags, maybe buy some mining bags, see what I get, you know?
There's so many things. Like I know they're not trying to completely break the game, and I know that they're trying their best to do all that, but I feel like there's always like some better way they could do things, but they're not really paying attention to it. In a way, even if we demand it, it's still like, yeah, I wish we had more, or wish we had like a bit like more going on, like a bit more stuff. Like it's I think it's just the player base in general. Like I think we'll never be satisfied on whatever the thing that may be. But they always try to make it perfect, and I get it. But I feel like there's always gonna be like for me, like there's something missing that should be. I think it needs more of this, or like maybe change this, or like do that type of thing. But that's why I'm always like talking about what they could change and what they like, what tickets I'm writing to them, what they could fix. But at the end of the day, it's still something that's always on my mind, no matter like what I do. So it's just like I can't really get this out of my head. So that's just me though.
And I know I brought it up before, but I'll bring it up again just because I want them so bad. I know I've often talked about what I call the little seedlings is what I call them. I want plushies to drop. Like I would love the ability if you cut down a tree, flow trees included, that you have a chance like you know how when you cut down a tree you have a chance to get a regular seed. What if instead of getting an acorn you got a plushied acorn? You know, I think that would be really cute, but obviously they would have to be able to be dropped from homegrown trees as well, even though seeds are not. That would be like the difference between it. So that you wouldn't just have to go out to public to, people can grow trees to, it would give extra incentive also to enjoy a flow chop party.
With the incentive of getting like acorns and all that, like I feel like it may be too much plushies. Like I know people are gonna argue, but like gotta jump me for this, where like there's no such thing as too much plushies. But I'm like, I feel like that's the only thing that's going. Like that's the idea of like, getting like a bunch of materials. It's like, oh, there's a plushie at the end of this, and you do chop a lot of these, or like hunt a lot of these, or like doing this a lot of these. And I'm just like, is that the only way of getting plushies? Is there like any other things that we can do? I know they have done in the past where you log in during this, you get this exclusive plushie, or like you do these Twitch drops, you get this exclusive plushie and all that. But at the end of the day, it's just like, I wish it was more than just plushies to keep the game running. In my opinion, is that wrong to say for me? I don't know. But like I feel like, yeah, plushies are amazing. Don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, it's just like I wish there was other things we can get other than plushies.
I think it comes down to getting that instant gratification of getting a chance to be, and that bit of a gamble of being able to get that sort of plushie. But as it's a game for kind of everybody, and everything is kind of in it, and everybody's going to get whatever they want out of the game. I know lots of people take breaks from the game after the updates, after they've grinded out and done the quests and done this, that, and the other thing. And unless they're plushie hunting or decorating, there isn't always something to keep people playing the game. So I think by them introducing the plushies, it kind of continuously brings people back to the game. I decorate a lot, so it's that people are like, "Oh, I don't have anything left to do in this game." I'm like, "Well, how many plots do you have?" Well, one. It's like, well, why don't you start another plot? Start decorating another plot. They're like, oh no, I can't be bothered. I'm not a decorator. So it's like, it's like not appeal to everybody. But I mean, for me, that's what keeps me in the game. If I have idle time, it's like, oh, well, let's start a new, decorating project. I'm maxed on my plots. I'm starting a new account in January because of it. But it's sometimes it's the plushies that keep people in. So they're gonna have to continuously, now that they've started something, they're gonna be continuously having to give us plushies to keep us going.
Exactly. Like they seem to be very continuously giving us bug plushies nowadays. So, and we know we've got the new Mantis plush on the way, hopefully soon, since that was that had won the last bug off. But
and I think we're also surprised that we did not get a pumpkin frog plushie. Where is our pumpkin frog plushie?
Exactly. Like I was wanting that for this whole Halloween event because I know everybody does bug pub. I know Shinori himself, he does huge bug parties himself. And I know just having the idea of having a pumpkin frog would have just been lit for him.
I mean, I got my the lures. We got our frogs for the board. And other than collecting the starred versions of the frogs, I don't have an incentive to use the remaining lures that I have, other than helping out the community, obviously. It's like, why didn't we get a chance to get a plushie? It's the same. It looks the same. It's just different coloring than the three other frog plushies, rock hoppers that we already have. How hard would it have been to give us that plushie? And I'm like, maybe they'll surprise us with one at the end of the season or something. But I'm like, I don't think it's gonna happen, but it's like, man, that's a really missed opportunity there, and I think everybody was really expecting it. So it's, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like since they did the whole the roadmap, they've done the plushie every single patch except for this one. I feel like this one would have been the most special because it is Halloween event. Because we're expecting something like creepy, something like spooky and like something like that's really inspiring to the Halloween theme of Paleo. But unfortunately, with this one, it wasn't really that like a huge incentive for that. So I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. I really don't.
It could have been strategic, and I don't want to get too controversial with the other thing that I partner with, but with Madrinas and them releasing the plushie with the pre-orders of that. But because the plushie is on pre-order, it doesn't really align with this season of being, without giving us an actual plushie, to actually have in our hands until those pre-orders are sent out. I mean, it is a new introduction of a new plushie, and maybe that's where their focus was, and maybe they didn't have enough. I mean, they're still a small team. They might be part of a bigger company now, but it's still a small team working on Palia. So maybe they didn't have enough focus or time to put towards getting that new plushie this term in because they were working so hard to roll out that collab with Madrinas. So that is also a possibility, but
I feel that when it comes to the Madrinas, like, yes, we are getting in November, but we don't know when because I've been hearing a lot of people getting shipping delays, or like there's like their shipping service has closed down or something like that, or taking like
that's
strike, whatever.
That's Canada, yeah.
Yeah,
that's
so,
that's different.
That might be specifically where I am, but
trust me,
like,
as I'm not getting my products as a partner because like all the Madrina's partners got a tub of the elderberry lemonade, except for the Canadians because they're all stuck in wherever because it's not priority shipping through the strike. So that strike is completely different from the actual Madrina stuff, but they're in production, so they just don't. They're just waiting for everything to be done, but they are working behind the scenes very well. They're starting to get everything in order. So it's just a matter of when the product is finally released. I can always try to see if I can get a date. I know it's late November. But they also had a lot of projects that they were working on. So I know from that side that they just rolled out a.
Yeah, but what I was trying to get at with that
things,
is like it's still not really with this update though. That's what I'm trying to get at because like you could release in November, but then like you might already release the update before then, and like we're still waiting for it. It's just like, oh, okay,
yeah, exactly.
Oh,
yeah, I'm just saying time wise, they're small teams, so they were probably working on some other things that took away the focus from being able to give us a plushie. I was surprised because we had voted on getting the mantis, not the praying, the fairy mantis that we didn't get that now either. Yeah. So and they could have just been delayed in making it. So who knows.
Right, but we do actually have quite a few bug plushies out there, and I do know that we have quite a few bug parties out there. So, at the current state of bug parties, Shinori, what's your feel on them? Since you're probably the bug party master here.
I feel like with bug catching in general, it mostly relies on honey lures, I would say, and grinding those a lot of those is very, very difficult, especially with you need gold bars, you need the Dragon Spear Pete, and then like apples. And then like those are not really easy to get for a newer player. You need because for a new player you have to know where they are, or like where to get all these gold, and also the Dragon Spear Pete. It's a lot of grinding in that sense. But like I do like.
Well, I don't feel like newer players are typically the one throwing down the lures at those server-wide honey lure parties, though.
What type of new players are you coming across? What?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like you're probably the one throwing more of them down. I assume.
Yeah. No, 100%. And especially with the bug, like and with the bug with the honey lures, I would say like it would mostly last you about like if you had like a bunch of them, probably like a good maybe like 1 or 2 hours if you're a newer player. But if you have like a lot of them, like I mostly do, it will usually last me about like 5 or 6 hours of like gameplay if you really wanna be hunting for a plushie, whether it's a night plushie, RTB, or like Dust Wings. It will last you quite a bit, but yeah, I don't really recommend just grinding it out, but it is a lot of work. So it really depends on you, if you're willing to get that much honey lure. So
What about you, Feisty? How's been your experience with doing bug catching parties, or do you ever do them?
We do them. I mean, we had a group of us go out and try to get some will-o-wisps yesterday. I don't know what's happening with the will-o-wisps, but they're certainly not spawning like they used to. But
Nope.
you know, they can be very stressful. The bug parties,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I've been able to team up with Shinori and to be able to, you know, participate in the server takeovers and stuff like that. But as somebody who doesn't do them as regularly as Shinori, it's, you know, I can't draw in enough of a large enough group to do server takeovers. Even if I've got a lot of people in my chat, pulling those people actually into the game onto a server, you know, I'm not the go-to to go look for, you know, those server takeover parties. Trying to organize, it's a lot of time. It's a lot of time,
It
and
is.
I know
It is.
Shinori has built a community that, you know, depends on the bug parties. Like, oh, you know, who's doing the bug parties? Well, oh, look, Shinori's on. Let's go see if he's doing, you know, an RTB takeover, because, you know, we know we can rely on that. So I mean, there's people that like Shinori that are doing them on the regular. For somebody like me that doesn't, it is extremely time consuming and stressful to try to get a server takeover. Then you get that milkshake, and then you have some random come on and scare the dang thing away, and then everybody's disappointed, and you
Yep.
just wasted 3 hours of, you know, content and you know, everybody's time and energy into doing this.
Yeah.
Just to get some plushies. So I think it depends on how you approach it. Like if you just kind of, you know, I've tried to do bug parties where it's just, you know, very organized, structured, trying to get it full, you know, full servers, you know, not getting to that point and then everybody kind of getting disappointed too. We don't care if we get a plushie, let's just throw down lures. They each have their own community, bonding experience, but you know, if you just, you know, don't care and throw down those lures, you're still gonna have people who are disappointed in not getting plushie. I do like the fact that we can
Yeah,
get those
yeah.
ladybug plushies at least. At least there's a little bit of that instant gratification that we're not getting an RTB, at least we're getting a ladybug. But you know, before that, it was an absolute nightmare. So I don't tend to do a lot of them.
It is.
It's
Yeah.
usually if we're doing bug parties, it's, you know, it's usually frogs, and we usually are getting grumpies or fire because the will-o-wisps are just being mean. But or the duskwings as of late. We've had a lot more success doing duskwings. I think because it's a smaller area. It's a very, very, you know, tight little area to be able to do them. But
Yeah.
then the RTBs, because the RTBs is such a vast area that they can spawn in. It's a lot of areas to kind of keep your eyes on, you know, people. And with the Duskwings, a lot of people have been, you know, being able to do the lures in multiple locations to try to create their own milkshakes and stuff. So it's been a little
Right.
bit more beneficial that way. But yeah, I find them, they tend to be a little bit more stressful for me. But so I don't tend to do them a lot. But we'll cook more than we will then we'll do the big bug parties.
catch.
But when we're itching for those plushies for sure. And again, it's grinding out the materials. You know, it's getting the gold and you getting the dragon's beard peat. And getting the lures, it takes a lot of time. And yes, you can buy them for money, but they're like 75 guild coins per lure. So I mean, you've got to do a lot of bugging to be able to get those lures. And yeah, it's a chore for sure.
Well, and I know, as you mentioned, somebody who has a much smaller community myself. I know those type of bug server takeovers, definitely not something I can ever do. I would have to team up with somebody like Shinori to be able to get that done. But I know, like, I know it's gonna sound sad, but when they redid, I know it's gonna sound controversial, but I want the milkshake method. I want them to fix that and just eliminate
Yep.
it. I feel like it
Yeah,
causes
please.
so much stress about keeping a bug alive. Just let the lures randomly spawn bugs. Don't let bugs around it like affect more of what spawns. I don't know how they got it coded. I don't know what it'll break to get it fixed, but I want them to I want them to take out that milkshake method. It is proven
Right.
time and time again to be a thing. And
It's more of a liability, to be honest with
and
you.
it's a thing in the game, and I feel like it blocks a lot of us smaller people, a lot of us smaller groups to be able to do stuff like RBTs, you know? And I know back in the day, before they redid the lures, you know, I don't, my main form of bug parties was we would do flower loops and do ladybug farms, or we would do like the beetle farms and Kilima. And
Mm,
I know ever since they redid those lures to where you can spawn those with lures, I
yeah.
know personally I feel like I've less incentive now to go out and do that kind of thing because you can just drop a lure and kind of made
Many
to
will spawn.
me ladybug plushies a little less special.
Yeah, 100%. Especially with how we got them back then was basically you break a rock and the powder beetle comes out of it in Kilma. So I remember literally just circling a rock, like waiting for like an hour or two for everyone to get their turn to break this rock, and then like, oh okay, we're going. And then we move on to the next rock, and then like we're all breaking the rock one by one, and we're just like, So I deeply understand that, but especially with the ladybug, when they first came out with the plushie, literally we would do a quota per day, which is basically 5 ladybug plushies per day. Oh, sometimes we hit it, sometimes we didn't. And basically for that, we it was such a huge group. Seeing like 20 people run and follow the leader on who's leading it, and basically just getting all these ladybugs that are spawning on the flowers or garlic or whatever bugs that were or whatever flowers that were going through at the southern side of Bahari. It's really fun. It was really fun. But now that you can just do honey lore, I feel like yeah, you're just basically yeah, you don't have to pick up flowers anymore. We're just gonna spawn out of the lore. It's like oh, okay. I feel like there's less of an incentive to actually like go around Bahari anymore for that. So it's like okay, we're just staying in one spot. Not we're not exploring Bahari. We're just
Yeah.
here. We're just here, Captain. That's
Yeah, I did
it.
like the old way of doing it too. But at least for those that are going for the RTBs, at least they are getting something. If they're not getting the RTBs,
Mm,
but that's about the only benefit.
right, right.
And in Kilima, I'm not sure why they did the beetle that way. There's nothing really to get, and other than the Dustwing, I think. um,
Yeah.
Plushie wise, that way in Kilima, right? So it's definitely interesting that they changed that. I don't know why that I don't know why
Mm.
that was. Maybe people were tired of hitting the rocks or something. They complained. I'm not sure, but
I, I think many people complained about like, oh, you gotta wait a long time, or like you. But I feel like you with a big group, I feel like it's not really the incentive to actually
yeah,
do. You might as well just go around solo, just like breaking all the rocks yourself,
yeah,
than waiting around for a big group to actually do that.
it was time consuming for sure, for
So
sure.
yeah, that was very good time consuming. Yeah.
But yeah, but other than that, I'm pretty happy with bug catching parties myself. I feel like they're releasing bug plushies at a pretty good rate to the point that, you know, it's still keeping it fresh and interesting. So,
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
but on a similar catching style or a similar ish kind of partying, I know hunting parties are a smaller thing, but still popular, but very chaotic. I don't know how much experience you guys do with hunting parties, but I
They
know
are
that's
chaotic.
something I know I
It's very good.
personally have
Yeah.
kind of stepped away from it because A, hunting really isn't my forte. But
Same.
B, like if you have more than one party's worth of people, it gets so chaotic so fast.
Right.
I think the
And
Go
especially
ahead.
with having multiple parties, you basically some people won't be able to get a hit in, and then yeah, it kind of sucks that way. But also, like I like the way that it was kind of designed because with the Ogapoos, it's a brand new addition to Elderwood, and also with the Schmalls. Schmalls, you don't necessarily have to go far. You basically just go around one area, and that's it. Ogapoos, on the other hand, you will have to literally go the whole entire area to find Ogapoos because it's yeah, like it's they run fast and they are a big creature. But at the same time, like you kind of wish they were like easier to like just find, but I guess they just want us to go like searching around that area to get like an exploration of like where to go find those.
Yeah, it's yeah, hunting parties, I think in a party of 4 are a lot easier than we're dealing with multiple parties. And of course, sometimes we have multiple parties that want to join in. And I think it depends on what animal that you're hunting. Schmoles doesn't seem to be too much of an issue because you have a chance of hitting, multiple parties hitting the schmoles. So you can get a higher chance of everybody getting a hit on them. But when you're dealing with any of the just straight arrows like the ogopus or the deer or choppas, obviously choppas and stuff, they're a lot faster to hit. Multiple parties, not that beneficial. The Cernix, not that beneficial. Unless you're going after the magic one. The Mushin is probably the best to do in multiple parties, and that's only because as long as you've got one person from each of those parties hitting the trees, then everybody in all of the parties are getting all of the whatever is being hit, as long as you're in the area. So Mushin is the best large group hunting, in my opinion. Ogopus, I think I've tried doing the multiple parties following each other and trying to get like one main hitter from each, super chaotic, and then those Ogopus are running all over the place. People are going, not following one person, they're following, how many other people, and, stream delay, and it gets to be very chaotic. I have seen others with multiple parties, and the way that they've been attacking it is going into the different areas. So you'll have one group in, Mave Way, you'll have one in sort of the Dermar Dock area, you'll have one over in the deep woods, and you'll have one up in Matana Bay. So if you have these like 4 different parties, and then they'll sometimes circulate, but as long as they're all killing in those areas, they're respawning in other areas, and I think the respawn rate is faster. So I mean that's sort of beneficial. Other than that, yeah, you're hopping from one area to the next, to the next, to the next. If you're just a party of 4 or 2 parties, but it's definitely different techniques for different hunting parties. And everybody's obviously doing it for the plushies, so it's right. All that RNG, the RNG drop, and I think the plushies and Elderwoods hate me, so I
have a love-hate.
It's a love-hate relationship. So people are like, "Oh, what an Ogopu hunt." I'm like, "Okay, let's go." Let's go out and hunt these things for 2 hours and still not get a dang plushie. Let's do it.
Yeah.
But that's actually a good tidbit. I didn't know, like, if you're doing a bigger Ogopu hunting party to spread your groups out like that, I thought the Ogopu that, like, spawned in, like, an area just kept respawning in that area and didn't affect the other area spawns.
I think it has to do with how many are on the server at a time. Yeah. It's from... Yeah, so I don't think there's I don't know if there's a way to force it. I know, listening to some of the more science streamers, I'm not going to name drop and stuff like that, they do a lot of like sort of testing on this kind of stuff. So I think they're still in the works of trying to find out the best methods and stuff, but that seems to be working for them, so...
But no, that's actually fascinating. I'm actually going to put that forward if I ever do that. Because I know I mainly just do schmoles, just because, as you guys said, it's just easier to do in a bigger group. And I typically have about 2 groups worth of people when I go hunt. So schmoles are just the easiest. They're all in a little confined area. I love the schmoles. They're my favorite thing to hunt.
Yeah, and I'd be curious on your feedback on that too. Like if you've got 2 different parties, maybe have one party in the Deep Woods Matana area, and they can just keep, travel boarding back and forth to the different areas, and maybe have another group doing the Mave and Dermurdock there, the Okana bog area there, and see. Because I know that usually when I'm running it, I stay over in the Mave Okana, and we just run back and forth to the different areas. But then you get other people on the server, and it gets crowded. But yeah,
right.
I'd be interesting. Yeah, and your feedback from that. Yeah.
But the one thing about like hunting in general in those areas is just mainly like if you we had a very large group. I had like a very large group for hunting. I was making really like silly jokes like, what if we all use makeshift arrows and start all shooting like that? But then I'm like, oh wait, no, it's like for it to spawn like other areas, it might be a bit longer to do that. So I don't really recommend doing that. But if you do, I'd say try it. But I would say it's just better if we all split up into groups and then do it that way. Yes, you like some plushies will drop in other areas and you won't be able to get it. But we are doing a very efficient way of just like having them respawn for the other people that are in the server for Elderwood to get the Elderwoods keep on spawning for that. I wish like I think one thing I would wish for them to do is like don't rely on other areas. If that's the case, I would really want it if we could actually have a different area. But I feel like always constantly you have to, if you're just like one group, you have to go to a different area in order to like get them to respawn back in the same place where you started and all that. So I think it's just one thing I would just change about that, but it's totally up to S6 about that. But yeah.
But then I guess moving on to the last kind of party that we're going to be discussing today. Right, I know, right? I know, speaking from experience, my favorite are fishing parties. Do you guys do fishing parties? How often do you guys do them? Do you guys like them?
It's the most relaxing one of them all, but it's an individual gain for plushies, so you're not sharing the plushies. It's like the only party where you're not actually sharing the plushies with your party members. And I don't know if I kind of like that individual, of getting the plushies by yourself sort of thing. Especially of course we're talking about the Elderwoods. But the fishing, if there isn't any plushies involved, I mean, other than standing there just grinding it out and getting the extra buffs and stuff like that, there's not a lot of incentive other than doing the Elderwoods.
And I think the one thing about
parties,
fishing parties in general, so if you are doing a group, you can actually look at what your what your friends are getting and be like, oh, who got it, and then like, oh, let's go, and all that. I love cheering about that.
Yeah, it can be a lot of fun. And the makeshift chest.
Oh, God, I love those.
But yeah, as you mentioned, I think my biggest issue with fishing parties is the fact that we have one legendary fish, and that's what everybody's after. That's what everybody wants, and that's pretty much why people are doing fishing parties.
Yeah.
And I feel like everybody's limited to one particular place in two places, but still the Elderwoods and and the salt water to fish for the Moths and the Magi of War and all the plushies. I feel like if I was to improve fishing parties, I would probably add, as I mentioned, I think in the last episode, I want like a sort of like legendary fish on like the ponds that you'll be able to catch on your home plot so that people can do fishing parties at home if they want to with their friends.
Well, it's not legendary, but I mean, you do get the other little fishy things.
Oh yeah, which
was odd, but yeah.
I mean, getting a goldfish is great. I'm not dissing goldfish 100%. I'm not saying I'm too good for epic fish because I still save up all my epic fish, and there are times that we do fish on my home plot when we're waiting for another party to start. We'll do some fishing and just hanging out. Yeah. But I feel like as like setting up fishing parties, for the most part, we're pigeonholed into one place to go. And especially with the way the plushies have been released, like the Elderwoods saltwater got the shark plushes and the fin plushes. Then they got the floatfish plushes. Then they got the XL plushes, and they got a legendary and rare fish. Like, I mean, as far as like sheer volumes go, that is the most beneficial place to fish. Yeah. And I would like to fish in I would like a freshwater Elderwood plushie, or give us a Bahari fishing plushie. Like, I'd love to fish out in the ocean in Bahari,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and we have the And I was surprised that they did the red koi, yellow koi, minnow, and catfish the way they did, because you just have a chance of catching one of those plushies from the
Yeah.
ponds as opposed to catching the fish. Same with the the way that they do the fish ones, and I'm kind of surprised by that, because I mean, yeah, you can get the fins from catching the sharks and stuff, but I'm surprised that they didn't have you actually have to catch the fish to get the plushie,
Yeah.
and not just catching a plushie, which it was kind of the reverse of what they do for all of the hunting plushies.
Yeah.
So I'm curious in why they did it that way, because it's like, well, why didn't they just have it a random drop? You catch the fish, you get a random chance of getting that plushie,
Right.
because they kind of changed the plushie dynamic there. So I don't know if that's something that they're just going to continue to do with just the fishes, and if that's the case, then where's our long nose unicorn fish plush?
Fair. And I feel like in general they're just trying different things. Like I think
Maybe,
I
yeah.
think it's just like, okay, if you get this fish, you'll get this plush. Like, no, I'm like, let's just have them actually catch the plush instead of like, okay,
Yeah.
doing that. It's like, okay, sure. But like, I'm not really like mad about it. Like, I don't think
No, it's just different.
right?
Yeah,
So it's
different.
just like, okay, yeah, that's fine. But see, like, I like that. We actually do see the plush though, because everyone's excited about it. Like, who got this and all that. Like, same thing with like the waterlog chest. Like, okay, who got this? Like, oh, okay, oh, we see it going towards this person. Like, oh, okay, nice, congrats.
Like,
Yeah.
I know
And
I know I'm gonna say this. Like, I know it sounds weird to say, but I see more people get hyped when somebody else reels in a fishing plushie than
Yeah.
when everybody gets a bug plushie or a hunting plushie.
Yeah.
Like, everybody celebrates when you get a hunting plushie or a bug plushie, but I feel like when somebody like reels in a fishing plushie, everybody gets like extra hype. I don't know what it is, just cheering on for somebody else than yourself.
Yeah.
But it's just something at least I've noticed in my community. Like, everybody seems to be more hype when one person gets that plush versus everybody getting a plush.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's hard to say for me because with hunting, with bug catching, when it comes to the RTBs, everyone's just jumping on top of the area where they got it. Like, plush. Everyone's just screaming in chat. I don't know. It can be different for other people, but that's usually how the plushie bug catching is for me. So it's like, yeah, it's and then I cheer, and then everyone else cheers as well.
Right. No, absolutely. As I said, I mean, it could just been my community. Of course, also beyond the fact that I'm a smaller community. So our, bug events are not nearly as big,
Right.
I feel like I feel like my fishing events are bigger than my bug events, But
No,
then
that's fair.
again, fishing is my oneness. It's what I do. It's what I love. So.
100%.
Yeah, I love fishing as well. My community doesn't as much, but yeah.
Well, I know, because as I said, I do my chop parties every Friday. And so basically on Saturdays, what I do on my stream is I do fishing parties where I fish from till 6 a.m. And then at 6 a.m. I go water the grove, and everybody goes home. We'll empty out our bags. We'll fix our fishing poles. We'll all do a community watering on the grove, and then after we water the grove, we all just head back out to the elder woods for another round of fishing. And I think it's because it's a mixture of like both of that it works out well for us, because everybody gets a break once an hour to go home, take care of some things, take a break, help me water the grove, and then we go back out for another like 45 minutes or so and fish for a little more. But yeah, I know.
Yeah, that sounds very, very planned.
Yeah.
I mean, we do. I mean, we do that most every Saturday at this point. Every Saturday, at least, I do a flow chop party. Power permitting, of course. But so that's why I'm always like Saturdays we do fishing parties, just because it allows us to water the grove from Friday's event, and B, it's a nice relaxing. It's just a nice relaxing event for me. So I enjoy
Right.
sitting there just chilling on the beach, fishing with friends.
Love it.
Okay, I might have an unpopular opinion.
What?
Can they turn down the drop rate of the very beautiful prism fish?
Oh my God, yes.
Because, man, that fish drops way
Too often.
Or give us a few more lake plushies, like legitimately, how in the world? Okay, this is also, I mean, this ain't a controversial opinion, but how come we get an ancient fish from the Zeki Lucky coins, but we can't fish it up?
Yes.
If
I
I
like
can
that.
fish up an ancient fish, let me fish up my ancient fish plushie.
Yeah.
Allow it, it can still
Yes.
be
Yeah.
gotten to Zeki, but we've got so many like rare plushies that don't really fit anywhere else in the game in the Zeki Lucky Balls, anyways.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't even be mad if they took like the ancient fish plush out of the Lucky Balls and moved it to the lake, so you have a chance to
Yeah.
get it as well.
Yeah.
Or give us the smaller version of the prism fish. Like they've got the ancient, large, giant, and small. Like, where's our
Yes.
small prism fish? And I understand that the rainbow dragon,
The rainbow's got to be big.
prism fish are large, are the giants. But we do have the little blue dragons. maybe we can get little, rainbow dragons and little rainbow fishies. Maybe eventually. Maybe next Pride month. Next year,
Right.
maybe.
No, I
Maybe.
definitely agree. I know I've got to a point where I fish so much. I've got a plot that I've dedicated to all of my fishing plushies.
Mhm.
And like I'm basically kind of like making like a miniature maze, and all of the walls are my prism fish plushies because I just get so many of them every Maji market.
Right.
Yeah, and I love that the community likes to donate, sometimes to the cause, because some of us, will do like plushie giveaways and stuff like that. But it's like, okay, there's only like, it gets to be to a point where it's like, okay, but if you're donating prison fish, like I don't, nobody wants to win these.
No,
You can't,
no,
you
no,
can't
no.
give those
Easy to
away. You can't give those away.
I can't give them
No.
away.
Yeah,
There's
you
just
open
so
you
many
open
of
up a
them.
trading booth with one, and people just close the trading booth and walk away.
Exactly. Yes.
Like, no offense,
Exactly.
like.
Yeah, there's not much to trade for them, and they are just taking up space, whether in inventory or on the plot. But yeah, maybe they did that so they're like, okay, let's give them this, in abundance and see what they can make out of
Right.
it, like a maze, for example, like you're saying.
Yeah. But
But
slightly out of
yeah.
topic. But that plushie pool, though, I think that's the
I know. I was like, what is I use that as my mirror trade all the time
Yeah.
now. That's what we do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know. I was like, why? I mean, it's cute.
Yeah, it's cute, but like it's in the store all the time now.
Yeah, it's just it was a bit of a what?
What? Excuse me?
am I gonna do with this?
Yeah, and now we can craft them as well. It's just like, well, that's the first plushie we can
Yeah.
craft. What?
Yeah, it is very interesting. I'm like, I like crafting, having the ability to be able to craft a plushie.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but that plushie, I don't know. I mean, for me, for being a glitch deco, I like the aspect of the fact that if I sink it a little bit into the ground, you get this nice little steamy haze on the ground.
Right.
That's what I would do. I'm going to be using them for, not for their actual purpose, but for deco reasons. I'll be using them for that. But yeah, I think it was a very interesting addition.
It was,
and kind of out of left field. Yeah.
I don't really see it in that much people's plots anymore either.
No.
But that pretty much covers all of the main type of parties that they currently have in Palia. So now that we're getting to that point in
Wait.
the episode, it's time for Shinori's question of the week.
So guys, with the new update, I was wondering, what would you want to see with the new parties? Would you guys want like more community-based like parties, like for like how we talk today, or would you guys want more of a solo type of adventure? Because I know with a lot of people play it mostly for solo, but there's also the incentive of playing with the community. So I'm just wondering, like, what would you guys want to see in the game about like solo or more multiplayer type of parties? Would love to see what you guys comment down below. I'll be willing to see what we can what you guys want me to add into the game.
I was gonna say adding things into the game as far as like parties go. For your question of the week.
Yeah.
I definitely would like the idea of like new types of parties. You know, as I said, I like playing with groups, but one of the ideas I've had is I like the idea of like a unique styled garden party that would be almost solo and kind of competitive, so to speak.
Mm.
Um, but I always had the idea of kind of like either a pumpkin or a watermelon like growing contest. Like you have like Badru show
Oh,
up on your plot
I
and you
love
have
that.
like a week and you get like a special like plot at the start of your plot or whatever, a little like garden spot. And you grow the biggest like watermelon or pumpkin that you can. And depending on how big it grows, depending on what type of rewards you would get or whatever, and you would be able to see how yours is size compared to those within your community.
Right.
I think a fun event like that would be fun, but that would be kind of like solo and community.
I mean, I would love it if you could actually customize the look and the shape of the whatever you're planting for like a contest or something like that, and then you guys could just show it off and like, oh hey, look at this pretty watermelon that I grew, and like something like that, or like a pumpkin like that too. Like you can design whatever face you want on the pumpkin or whatever, and they're like, ooh, which would be very funny and also very very creative on what people are doing with that. But I feel like that might take a lot of work. I don't know, but it's really up to S6 if they want to do that. But yeah.
But anything new you particularly want added, Feisty?
Oh, I have lots of things that I would love to have new, but I'll only touch on a couple. I know that they've talked about, because I'm a decorator, and I know they've talked about community plots, and I think yes, we have editor, and people can help decorate and do things on different plots, but it would be nice to be able to actually people to be able to craft with their own materials, bring things, put things down, that sort of thing. To be able to do like a community build properly, where not just depending on the host's materials, to be able to put everything down and decorate and stuff together, something like that collectively would be fantastic. That brings in the ability to be able to trade items, craftable items in this game, which I know a lot of us have been asking for a super long time. That I would I would love to be able to be able to make the decorators happy with being able to do that sort of thing. Of course, we can decorate our own plots as well, that sort of thing. But being able to trade some items would be fantastic. Because some of us have more materials, or some of us, have more recipes. Uh, to be able to share in that kind of a sense would be amazing. But going back to like having the being able to have like shows and stuff like that for the gardening and stuff. I can kind of see the ranching going that way, with everybody doing all of these magic things and getting all these fantastic traits for their animals and stuff. Being able to have like a show, um like a voting system or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
either in like a fashion show sense,
Yeah.
or like you're doing your animal sense. um and bring it back to the fashion, I come from an
Yeah.
Animal Crossing background, and one of the things I absolutely loved about the dynamic of Animal Crossing is designing our own
Yeah.
clothes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I would love to be able to design our own clothes and be able to have that sort of a relationship and have that built with gel,
Yeah.
you
Of
know,
course.
Right.
something along those lines. But as we know, it's a free game, and a lot of the money they're making is from the outfits that they're giving us. So, but if we can't do that as a community, I think it would be a fantastic thing. Although I'm not a paleo partner, I think it would be a fantastic thing for them to be able to partner up with some of the larger paleo partners and design with that partner an outfit that would represent them and their communities, and then be able to release it into the game.
Oh, that would be
Yeah.
cool.
And it would be like a signature piece, for some of those larger paleo partners to be able to kind of be like, it gives paleo partners some more clout as well, right? Some more incentive to be
Yeah.
involved, and an extra little sort of perk. So yeah, that's just a few
Here's an
ideas.
idea. I know this is a huge controversy. I'm not gonna go too much deep into it, but there was a game called Dress to Impress from Roblox, I was wondering if they could create an area where literally you don't have to buy any of the outfits. Once you leave this area, you can't equip any of these outfits, but once you're in this area, you could actually equip any outfit that you want that's in the premium store. And then basically you just rate each other on what you guys are wearing through that. I hope someday they would make into something like that, just play dress to impress type of way. Where you're just like, oh, you look like an Avenger from Marvel. Or like, oh, you're like Stephen Hawking. I don't know. I don't know what you guys want to do, but just things like that. Like just little fun things like that. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So you want to be doing that while playing Paleo, which I would think many people would be like, yes, let's do that. Let's play that. Yeah.
Like one idea I'd had for a larger paleo partner streamer, and they ran with the idea was mystery outfit fashion shows where people team up and they each gift each other mystery outfits, and you did a fashion runway. I have a runway that I had built on my plot to be able to do this with my community as well. So they each traded. Of course, this involves money, though, right? So people would have to. They would pair up. They would each give each other a mystery outfit, and then you walk down the walkway and the runway to showcase those outfits. It was a great way to be able to show off some of the outfits that maybe people have never seen before. But it would be amazing to have something like a studio, like a gel studio or something like that. That you could all go in, try on different things, mix and match outfits, and do like a little fashion show and rate. That would be amazing, and it would help boost their sales, because I mean, there's been some mystery outfits that I've gotten, and I'm like, I'm not so sure about this outfit. And then, there'll be like a hat or the pants or the shirt or some piece of it that I really enjoy, that I would never have known that I was going to like unless I had won that mystery outfit, or gotten that mystery outfit. So I think it would be a great way for them to be able to showcase their clothing a little bit better.
And I feel like it would be more incentive to actually have players to actually purchase the outfits, because it's like, well, I saw this at this game that Billy has, and I'm like, oh man, like what outfits do I need to get to like all these pieces to showcase it like in the outer world? I think it'll be more of an incentive to actually like purchase all these outfits as well. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's not like they're cheap outfits.
No.
By any means. For a free game, I have put a lot of money into the game because of the cosmetics in itself. So, yeah.
But also, if you guys want to follow us on Twitch, you guys can. We have K-Fierce and also FeistyStreams here. Also Shinori Yoru. Just find us on Twitch.
Well, on that note, thank you so much for coming on here and being our very first guest on the stream, Feisty. And for our viewers out there, if you want to let them know where they can find you out here on the internet, if they'd like to learn more about you.
Well, of course, Bill. Mainly, I'm a long haul streamer on Twitch, so FeistyStreams on Twitch is where you'll find me. But I'm hoping by next year, now that my partner grind is done, I'm going to free up my schedule for some more YouTube content. So that's going to go hand in hand with me starting that new file as well. So doing some tutorials on quests and decorating. And
you'll definitely have to keep me posted when you get your YouTube up and going.
Well, I'm FeistyStreams everywhere. I have a YouTube, but don't look at it. It's embarrassing because just make sure you spell my name right. That's all.
Now, how do you spell the name?
Feisty. A lot of people spell it IE. So yeah.
No, just making sure for everybody out there who may be, listening and wanting to look you up. And
so Feisty and then streams, obviously. So yeah, it's like Feisty. It's one of those, I before E, breaking the rules. So it's EI. I get it a lot. People would be like, "Oh, well, I sent you a friend request in the game, but you're not popping up." And I'm like, that poor gentleman in the game that is Feisty, Feisty, gets a lot of friend requests. For me from people in my community.
And I know you can find me on Twitch and YouTube at KFierceScene, and You can find,
Me on Twitch and also on Blue Sky if you guys want to look at me there.
and until next time, we'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.